Hey everybody, welcome back to Mrs. Wizard Toy, and we're at the shop today. You know, you guys always love the crazy Omega stories that the Wizard tells. Well, I've got some of my own. You won't believe some of them. Let's get started. So we're at Crazy D's desk, and I'm occasionally stationed here, not very often. If Crazy D has an emergency, needs to go take care of a doctor's appointment kind of thing, I sometimes step in. So rarely am I at this spot, but the times that I have sat here, I've had some very interesting, usually phone calls. And so some of them, they're kind of annoying. They're like, they'll call and say, I want to talk to the car wizard. It's like, well, he's not really available. He's running the shop. We've had people stop in the past and like, wow, this place really exists. It's really an automotive repair place. We really do run a shop around here. The shop was first and the YouTube channel came second. So I've had calls said like, hey, I have this problem. I just need to talk to a technician. Can I talk to one of your techs? I'm like, no, I can't pull them off of a job they're working on. They're up to their elbows or more in, fixing something. Can I call your employer and ask to speak to you personally? Take you off of what your job is when there's no reason for me to call you? Yeah. So that's kind of annoying. It kind of goes hand in hand is that we'll get emails from people like, my car's making a weird sound. Here's a picture of the outside of it. I don't know what the picture of the outside is going to do when your car's making a weird noise, but that's what we get. And there's no way we can diagnose a car over an email making a weird noise. Well, unless you hear what the sound is. Is it the sound of brakes crunching because you've not changed the pads and the little studs and where the pads should have been have eaten into the rotor? Is it the whine of a loose serpentine belt? Is your power steering low and is making that kind of a whine? Who knows? And there's no way we can diagnose that. So those are some that are kind of really annoying. I have gotten a really sad call not terribly long ago. A guy from Wichita, it's about 30 minutes away, called and he said, yeah, my Hyundai, it has a bad engine. It's going to need a new one. I'm like, well, how do you know it needs a new one? Oh, well, I'm at this other repair shop in Wichita, and I've not heard bad things about them, but obviously they don't do engine replacements. And so he's at this place because they have told him, yeah, your engine's dead, and he's trying to find some place that will do an engine overhaul. Well, we don't really want to do that terribly much either. And to be honest, on a Hyundai, it's not terribly worth it. By the time you buy the engine and install it, you're at the cost of the car. And so I'm trying to, I guess, wait for him to figure that part. What I've told him out is going to cost, $5,000 or $6,000. He's like, but I really like my car. And it's like, well, I can't help how much you love your car. I can only tell you what it would cost to replace that engine. And so sometimes that's one of the sad ones, but I've got a few others. So we moved to the wizard's office, and sometimes I work back here. A lot of times I work back here more because I need to be with the computer here. The one that was out there, that's Crazy D's, and I'll let that one's his. This one, the wizard and I share. And this one, I actually got another phone call from someone. And I'm like, yeah, Omega, how can I help you? And he's like, I need to talk to the owner. It's like, well, I'm one of the owners. No, I need to talk to one of the owners. I'm one of the owners. What can I do for you? I'm not going to go get the wizard to pull him off. And the guy's like, well, I'm calling to talk to you about your Google reviews. Okay. He's like, well, you have a really good rating, but we could even make those better. I'm like, we don't care about Google reviews. And he's like, what about the other owner? Would they like to have the better reviews? I'm like, they don't care either. And then he gets all pissy and hangs up. But I'm like, I think back now and I'm like, was he really just a really bad salesman? Or was he just a fan who was just really pissed off that I wouldn't let him talk to the wizard? But he didn't ask to talk to the car wizard. He asked to talk to one of the owners. So not sure if he knew the whole story there, but I didn't let him have his way in trying to sell us whatever service he was trying to offer, because we really don't care about our Google reviews. They're nice. There's been a few that have been less than pleasant. I love the ones who say, you refused to work on my car. It's like, well, we don't. I called for an estimate. It's like, well, we say that plainly on our website. We don't do estimates over the phone, and we don't do them over email. We don't do them by chat, text, whatever. we don't do that. You have to bring the vehicle in. And so we've had a few of those. Other than that, they're good reviews. And you guys know we do good work. The next one happened about a week ago. I was having some issues with one of the bank accounts, and there was somebody who was going to try and pay us with an ACH, one of our advertisers, and they're having some problems. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll just call the bank. I said, just their general helpline. I thought, no big deal. I'll just see, hey, are they seeing the ACH coming in? Could they give me an idea of why it's not working? This bank transfer shouldn't be this hard. And so I call, and I can tell from her voice that she is an old lady. Nothing against old ladies, considering I'm becoming one very slowly. But this old lady is like, well, ma'am, yes, I don't see anything on this account, but, and who are you again? Okay, I'm Jenny. I'm one of the owners for Omega Auto Clinic. Oh, you're not authorized on this account. I'm not authorized on the account. Okay. So I figured it's really not them that's the problem, even though she's less than charming. I figured it was the advertising people were having issues on their end, and they were. But I then call, and I thought, okay, we've got to get this resolved. I call the bank, and I talk to the lady I normally talk to. Maybe I should have talked to her, but I don't want to overstep and constantly be calling her for every little nitpicky little baby thing. So I called her again. I said, hey, I'll call her Cammie. It's not her name, but I called Cammie, and I said, hey, I don't know what happened, but I'm trying to talk to somebody, just called the helpline. They wouldn't talk to me because I'm not on the account. She said, let me check on that. And it took a little bit of time because I had to joke with her and laugh when we were talking, just chit-chatting. And she gets in there and says, you're authorized to talk on every account because there's some sort of a rider they have for every account. And she's like, I'll put a note specifically on that account to make sure they can talk to you. So that was one of them that was really frustrating. It's like, I just want to do my job. I just have things I need to do. And the bank lady there was like, nope, not going to talk to you. You're not authorized. Great. The next one I have is mildly annoying. They get worse. Let me tell you, I'm leading up to it. But this one's mildly annoying because we deal with advertisers now, not on this channel. I'm not big enough. The Wizard is. So we have advertising, and we try and choose advertisers that are good fit for the channel, people that we think have a good reputation, that we like the service they provide. We just don't choose anything willy-nilly. We don't choose ones that are hard to complete. They have, you've got to do this and this and this 12 different hoops to do. No. And so usually, and I've got a couple of guys that I just absolutely adore working with. They're so great. But there's a few that we've worked with in the past, or maybe they'll reach out to us and I'll say, hey, would you like to do this kind of an ad for this company, And I'll reply back, and they'll usually address it to the Wizard or to David. And I say, hey, Jenny here. I'm his content manager, wife, hey, this is what what we're willing to do or not do. They'll reply back, okay, David. It's mildly annoying. It's like, hello, I just told you you're not talking to him because really you don't want him to talk to you. He is running the shop that's through that door. He has parts on order. He's got to keep track of when they're getting here, when they're not getting here, all the orders, the invoices, all that fun stuff. He's not dealing with the advertisers. That's my job. And so it's just kind of mildly annoying. It's like, I told you I'm your contact person. I understand the email may say his name on it, but we do monitor the same accounts just so we don't miss anything. So that's mildly annoying, but I've got some scarier ones. So hey, the next one is just like where you're standing. I'm at the front desk. We have a ring for service bell. It's a cordless doorbell, but we have one of these at the front desk. So if we happen to not be up here, which can happen occasionally, so one of us can come out. So it's one of the days I'm working, and the bell rings, and I come in here and I close the door behind me, and there's a gentleman standing kind of where you're at. And it's not a big deal. It's like, hey, well, how can I help you today? I could smell him and his cigarette smoke from way over there to here, and he's looking rather disheveled. Well, he says he's now staying across the street at some storage units, he and his wife. And they're needing money, and I'm like, well, we just don't carry cash. I mean, it's not like we have transactions happening all the time here. Most of them are large enough. Most people don't pay in cash. So we're used to taking checks and credit cards. And I'm like, hey, I don't have anything, sorry. But I'm thinking, I just closed that door behind me and all the boys are back there. It's just me up here in the office alone with this guy. Luckily, it's a thin door. If something bad happened, I could have yelled. But I was like, this is a little scary. I was like, what am I going to do? How do I get rid of this guy? Luckily, after I said, I really can't help you, we don't have any cash, he decided that was enough and he went on his way. But it was kind of scary for the fact I've seen the guy walk a time or so. I haven't seen him in a long time. That happened a couple of months ago. But I saw him walk by with this lady with him, and there's a little kind of a grocery store at the corner, and I was in there and I was talking to one of my friends in there, and she's like, yeah, there's some people living over there. I followed them one day because I was like, what's going on? Because they've asked us for food, and it's obviously they're a small grocery store. And, we've given them a few items, but we can't keep doing that. And they're kind of scary. And it's like, yeah, they're kind of scary. And so she had kind of sleuthily followed them and watched what happened. She's like, did you notice we were in your parking lot one day? It's like, no, I didn't notice. I guess she was good in her sleuthing, but she did. She saw them over there. They're not there any longer, but I think there definitely was maybe a few mental issues going on as well. Obviously, if you're living in a storage unit, some bad times have fallen on you, but that was definitely odd. I actually saw them before he came in. I was like, oh, and hadn't thought much of it until after he had gone. I was like, oh my goodness, I had run into that guy at the local Walmart, which is for here, clear across town. It's several miles away, across railroad tracks, across a highway. It's not like it's just hop, step, and a jump over there from here. It's quite the walk. But they must have gotten over there somehow. But the lady he was with was just screaming and carrying on and cursing and talking about the police and getting everybody involved. And people at the store were like, what the heck's going on? So that was a little scary to know that was in the neighborhood. But look, nothing ever came of it. But dealing with the public sucks sometimes. The other one is I got another phone call. This one came a long time ago. I got the phone call from the state. Somebody from the state called us. This is when we were still not in this shop, but in the Halstead shop. So I can't put us on location for that one. But she calls and she says, you need to fill out this paperwork. You need to do something online. I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't know what to do. I'm new to this whole business thing. And there's still a lot of things I don't understand with how to run a small business. There's no how-to guide. There's no place to go to say, hey, how do I do this? And how do I fill this out? No, you just kind of wing it. And so I was still winging it back then. And she's just rude and mean. And finally I'm like, whoa, lady, hey, I just need some help here. Why are you being so rude to me and so mean to me? I've done nothing wrong. You're the one who called me. And you can almost hear her go, gasping, for air. She's just eating air because she's like, someone called her out. And I wasn't mean about it. She was the Karen that was calling me after all. I was just like the helpless victim of the Karen. And finally, after she got done, gasping for air, she finally was like, oh, maybe she was having a bad day. She must have been having a bad day, because I really hope and pray that this is not how this individual lives every single day of her life. After she calmed down, after she realized she was being not less than pleasant, she told me, hey, this is all you got to do. It's like, okay, I can do that. I will so do that. You just have to tell me what to do. I didn't know I needed to do it. Send a letter, send an email, call nicely and let me know what I need to be doing. But that was, pretty intimidating to know that, hey, she called and was so rude. It was like, I didn't do anything. I'm just trying to live. Anyway, the last two I have are really nice and really pleasant. This time, we need to go back out to my studio. So let's head out there. Welcome back to my little corner of the world. And the newest thing, I'm going to give you a heads up on the newest thing I'm working on is I'm working now with some resin. Isn't this turning out really pretty, filling those in those channels? I have color coming this next week. So I filled in with just a clear and I'm going to put some color on top. I don't know, I think this would be really cool. Maybe put your cell phone on it, put a wallet, have some nice little soft feet on the bottom. But obviously I haven't got that far. I'm still working on it. But this has been one of my new things I'm working on. But I came back here because the two that I have that are really nice came from people who bought my Partworks. One was in the I think it was in the second auction I had. people from Wichita contacted, emailed through eBay and said, hey, if we buy this, can we come by and pick it up? You don't have to ship it. If we win the auction, we'll just come by and we'll grab it. Maybe look, see your space. I'm like, sure, of course. So why would I say no to having to worry about packaging up something? That's kind of the scary part. Whatever I make, some of them are really easy to ship. Like this would be really easy to ship. I wouldn't have to worry about it. But some of the lamps, some of the clocks, they can be a little bit more scary, just to make sure that it's not my construction that's the problem. It's the people who like to play kickball with the boxes in the postal service. That is where I have a trouble. So I have to really box them up well. And luckily I have a constant supply of packing material coming through the shop because the Wizard orders a crap load of boxes and materials and parts and whatnot. So these people did win. They won the clock that was the round clock. Here's a picture of it. They ordered that and I was so worried. That was the one I was most scared about shipping anyway, because those hands were really fragile. It came with a little protective kind of cover on it and I had that saved and I was ready to get that all done, but they showed up and I was like, yay, I don't have to. That was one of my scarier pieces I didn't end up having to ship. And they came in, we were just chit-chatting, we stood back here, we talked about what, making some of the stuff, and that was just really fun. The second one is very similar. The person who won the clock, it was the transmission clock from the last auction. Here's a picture. And he won it. And I looked at the name and I'm like, I have seen that name before. I know this guy. So I messaged him back and I'm like, hey, I'm going to call him George. George, hey, I see that you won this. I can ship this to you if you'd like, but I know you're bringing your car in later next month, which is March now. I said, would you like me to just put it in the car? Clean, of course. You're always scared. Car parts in a nice fancy car. Yeah, no, it'll be, the car just got here this week. I haven't put their clock in the car yet because we have time. But I was like, yay. I was like, oh, I don't want to, again, chance anything getting hurt in the shipping. And of course, on this one, I'll give him a refund for his shipping. The first people said, we don't even do not refund that money. Take the Wizard out to dinner. So there's been some good blessings out there in the world. People who buy these part works, I hope you're loving them. They're such fun to make. It's nice to get out of the house and not be stuck at a computer all the time. That gets tedious and tiring. But I love what I've been working on. But these have been fun. I've got 2 of them. I had the transmissions I bought from the last set of auctions, I guess. Everything came as 2. So I have 2 of everything. So I have 1 I've not touched yet. So see how this one turns out. Then I'll see what I'm going to do with this one. And then I've even got this guy is the other one. I'm not so sure if I'm filling this one in with resin or not. Take a lot more resin. There's more channels in there. But I don't know. It's been fun. I like to experiment. I love the creative output that I'm getting here. But that is the 10 crazy stories I have from the Car Wizard shop. So glad you're with me today. I'll see you again next week. Bye.